Good morning and welcome to Lesson 8. Now, Lesson 8, as you can see from the pictures before, is going to focus on I versus me. Now, a lot of people struggle with this because, again, this is one of those things that make the English language so ridiculous. It's one of those things where it's like, did you really need to use two words? But whatever, we're going to get through it. I got you. Now, I and me are both pronouns. I is used to represent the subject in the sentence. Me is used to represent the object in the sentence. Now, you don't need a in-depth understanding of object versus subjects in order to get this. So I'm not going to waste your time filling your head with that. Like I said before, this is an adult refresher course, so we're not going to go all the way back. We're not going to be like a noun is a person, place, thing, all right? We're just not doing all of that, okay? We're going to start from where we need to start, which is the quickest way I can get you to understand these two so we can stop making these grammatical mistakes. Now, the important thing to know is that I and me are not interchangeable. What I mean by that is you cannot use one in place of the other. You know how some mathematical operations, you can reverse the numbers like an addition and you'll still get the same answer, whatever the case may be. You cannot do that with I and me. If you're using the wrong one, you're using the wrong one and the sentence is not going to make sense. Let's look at some examples. So here we have James and I studied at the library. Jasmine and I will go to the football game. Both of these sentences show I being used correctly. I is representing the subject in those sentences. The TV show wants to do an article on my brother and me. This is a picture of Tom and me at church. Both of these sentences are correct because they use me as the object within the sentence. I know what you're thinking, but I'm still confused. I feel like I could have used I in those sentences where the word me was. Actually, I said that and it didn't make sense. I got you. Here's a trick. The trick is to remove the other person. If the sentence still makes sense, you are using the right word. I'm going to say that again. Remove the other person. So the trick is to remove the other person. If I say James and I or me went swimming, I would remove James from the sentence and read the sentence I went swimming or me went swimming. As we can see, me went swimming doesn't make sense. So when I put James back into the sentence, you see all that spit? Oh my God, what happened there? When I put James back into the sentence, James and me went swimming would not be the correct one because without James, me went swimming doesn't make sense. Now, without James, I went swimming makes sense. So when I add James back to the sentence, James and I went swimming, that is the correct one. So the key is remove the other person. Let's look at that a little further. So here we go. We have the teachers gave James and me or I good grades. We have to decide which one goes. So we'll remove James. We took James from the sentence. Now, the teacher gave me good grades or the teacher gave I good grades. You would never say, the teacher gave I good grades. That just doesn't make sense. So clearly that sentence needs the word me. The teacher gave me good grades. So then when once we add James back to the sentence, we know that it's not I, because without James, it's not I. So it would be the teacher gave James and me good grades. Let's look at another example. Keisha and I or me went swimming after school. What do we do next? Remove the other person. I or me went swimming after school. So now I need to say both of those sentences. I went swimming after school. That makes sense. Me went swimming after school. I never say something like that. So therefore, when I add Keisha back to the sentence, it's not going to be me because me went swimming after school doesn't make sense. So this sentence, we would need to use I. Keisha and I went swimming after school. We add Keisha back to the sentence. I is the best word. So when trying to decide whether you should use I or me, the best thing for you to do is to remove the other person from the sentence. Learning about subject, learning about objects, figuring that out, that may be great for some people, but the easiest and the quickest way to do it, especially if you're on the fly, you're typing a Facebook status, you're typing a Twitter stat, whatever the case you're doing, you want to do it quick. You don't want to have to go back into your notes and look at subject versus object. Those are important things. Those are things that I teach at this grade level. But as adults, what's the quickest way for me to recall this information I have already learned at one point in life? And the best way to do that is to take the other person out of the sentence and then read the new sentence. And if the new sentence makes sense minus the other person, then you're using the right word. This will work for you every time. Let's go look at that Facebook status now from the beginning, and let's update that. So here's that status. Subscribe to our YouTube. Me and Alexis always put on a show. Well, what's the clue? What do we need to do? We need to remove Alexis from the sentence. Me always put on a show? That doesn't make sense. Let's fix this. Here we go. Well, they used the right hour, so there we go. That's good. Not me. Alexis and I. And I added good. So in closing, I'm going to show you that visual again, but I'm going to explain it first. When you're trying to decide which one to use, I or me, think about removing the other person from the sentence. If the sentence no longer makes sense when the other person is removed, you are using the wrong one. If you can remove the other person and the word you have there still makes sense, you are using the right one. Screenshot this visual, show it to your child or your friends, whoever the case may be. Somebody you notice makes this mistake, just slide it in their DMs just to kind of give them the hint, because a lot of times people don't know, they don't remember. We learned this in when did we teach the I versus me rule? Maybe third, fourth grade. I want to say fourth grade, they really get into it. Maybe third, they brush over it. So it's been a while. Well, there we have it. That's it. That's the end. I hope you enjoy lesson 8. I'll have that visual for you in just a second. McCreary out.